Hey guys, before I get started on this episode, the Golden State with Mates Patreon has a new lower price, $2.99 and $4.99 per month memberships where you can access up to 5 bonus podcast episodes every week, a daily Warriors newsletter, and get yourself in the draw to win monthly giveaways. I'll leave a link in the description. It would be great if you could go and check it out. Coming up on this episode, all the major takeaways after Brandin Podziemski and the Warriors produced a stunning fourth quarter to deliver an upset win over the Denver Nuggets on Sunday afternoon. Welcome back to the Golden State with Mates podcast after the Warriors get a stunning 128-117 victory over the Denver Nuggets at Chase Center on Sunday afternoon. One of the best wins of the season when you consider no Steph Curry, obviously no Jimmy Butler, no Kristaps Porzingis, no Draymond Green. The latter two we'll get onto later on. Felt a bit like the Spurs game right before the All-Star break to me, where the Warriors came out hot offensively and looked really good. Had a lead in the third quarter, and then it kind of evaporated, and you expected that the Nuggets would just go on as the Spurs did to record like a comfortable victory in the fourth. But no, the Warriors responded in the final period, trailed by 5 with just over 7 minutes remaining, 109-104. And from that position, went on a 15-0 run and closed out the game with an 11-point victory. Have to start with Brandin Podziemski, who had a very inefficient first 3 quarters. He had 3 points on 1 of 10 shooting, and all the critics and doubters of Pods were raising up once again. But Pods emphatically quietened them in the fourth, was unequivocally the best player on the floor in a game that also had Nikola Jokic. And mind you, Nikola Jokic went for 35 points, 20 rebounds, and 12 assists. You ask, well, how did the Warriors win that game when Jokic has a 35-point, 20-rebound triple-double? Well, they shot 13 more threes, made 13 more threes than the Nuggets in the game, went 21 of 52, over 40% from behind the arc, despite going ice cold in the third where they got outscored 34-19. Pods, though, literally the best player on the floor in the fourth quarter. 15 points. 6 of 6 shooting from the floor. Perfect. Not only that, added 8 rebounds in the quarter. A couple of assists as well. Fell 1 assist shy of his first career triple-double. 18 points, 15 rebounds, a career high, and 9 assists in the game. Just a sparkling performance from Brandin Podziemski in the fourth quarter, and did it in a myriad of ways. And this is the thing, it's really funny because when he's actually, it sounds so simple. When he's making some of these shots, it looks fantastic because he actually is a legitimate 3-level scorer. Kind of started off the fourth quarter, nice drive to the rim, pump fake on Valanciunas, got an and one there, had a couple of threes, one that he stepped into really confidently in transition, which I think gave the Warriors the lead after it was 109 apiece. Then had like a pull-up mid-range jumper on the baseline. When all these shots go in, he looks like a really, really good player. The problem is the shots don't go in, or it can be feast or famine with him, and there's not really too much consistency to it. But we as fans have been incredibly critical, I think, probably in an unfair way. And again, as I always say, I think we're just so critical of him because he's put so many expectations, and the franchise has put so many expectations on himself that, I think we as a fan base just simply, we're like, well, if you're going to say you're that kind of player, you can become a star in this league, well, let's see it. And when we don't see it, it's like, well, we're going to tear you down for even suggesting that you had that kind of star quality in the first place. We saw that star quality in the fourth quarter. Now, sometimes I see Pods as a role player, and sometimes role players can have their star moments. And again, we have got to give him full credit for this. You can't be negative on Pods all the time and then not give him his flowers when he has a performance like this in the fourth quarter. And not only like a performance like this in the fourth quarter, but after being I think they said he might have made his first shot and then missed his next 9 or something like that. So he was down. He was so inefficient in the first 3 quarters, and to have the self-confidence and self-belief to come out and do what he did in the fourth quarter takes a lot. And so credit to him. Hopefully he can continue this moving forward and build some momentum over the remaining 25 games of the regular season or whatever else. So I thought it was a fantastic performance in the fourth quarter from him. The first three quarters, rebounded and assisted well and poured big numbers in there. But obviously the scoring, some of the shot selection stuff, a few ill-advised threes here and there weren't necessarily great, and it was a tough watch. But again, the ability to bounce back from that, to be the best player on the floor in the fourth quarter and deliver a shorthanded Warriors team victory, absolutely incredible. So credit to Brandin Podziemski. He wasn't the only young Warrior player to step up and deliver a huge performance in this game. The Warriors were left with 9 players. Of course, as I said before, no Steph, no Jimmy, no KP, no Draymond, no Seth Curry. 9 healthy players for this game. They all had to play their roles, and they all did to some degree. It must be said, including the young guys. Moses Moody led the way. Another really strong performance from him. 23.7 rebounds, 5 assists. I think he was 9 of 16 shooting from the floor, 4 of 9 from deep, so efficient as well. Guy Santos battled through foul trouble. A couple of really poor fouls, I would say, to put himself in that position, which was disappointing. Only played 27 minutes in a game. He probably would have played upwards of 30 if not for the foul trouble. But he still had 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists. Thought he did a great job. He shot 6 of 7 from the floor and 2 of 3 from three-point range. And a lot of that was in the first half, where he just cut so well without the ball at times to find himself easy open layups at the rim. And that's not a coincidence. Like, he just moves really well without the ball. And he's starting to show, obviously, some creative ability with the ball in his hands as well. So no doubt, Moody and Santos being the biggest positives from the time that Jimmy Butler really went down with injury to now, obviously getting more opportunity and seizing that with both hands. Will Richard, I've loved his start after the All-Star break, after plateauing somewhat before the All-Star break and looked like he was going to fall out of the rotation. Now he looks like he's back into, hopefully having a consistent role, 11 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. Another guy who's not afraid of the big moment, will make the big plays, will take the big shots and often make them as well. So he had a really good performance. And then Quentin Post was back in the rotation, obviously with no Draymond and no Porzingis. It looks like offensively his confidence has been sapped somewhat, which has been a theme for Golden State and their young players over recent years, with just the inconsistent rotational role and stuff like that. And it feels like he's just not, like, I don't have any confidence. I don't think he has any confidence in his 3-ball going in right now. There was one that he didn't even get up, where he had an open corner 3 in the third quarter, I think it might have been, and he was just like foot out of bounds and it was a turnover. So offensively, it's a real struggle. I think obviously when Porzingis and Draymond and Horford are all healthy and playing, Post isn't going to be part of the rotation. But he got the opportunity in this game, obviously. And I thought defensively on Jokic early, he was actually pretty good. And he had 7 rebounds, 4 assists in this game. So again, defensively, just having a 7-foot body out there. Again, Jokic has a 35-point, 20-rebound triple-double. And look, Jonas Valanciunas even cooked Post a couple of times. But there were also possessions where Post held his own, and I thought did okay. So the Warrior young guys were absolutely excellent, again, led by Pods. And to win this type of game without the veteran stars, again, goes down as one of the best wins of the season. There's no doubt about that. They did get a couple of huge performances as well, though, from their veteran players. Gary Payton II had 15 points off the bench. But I want to point, my next big takeaway, I suppose, beyond Pods and the young guys, was De'Anthony Melton and now Horford, who, the more I watch them play right now, the more I'm just more and more disappointed, near on heartbroken by Jimmy Butler's season-ending ACL injury. Because not Golden State, but the Jimmy Butler injury, like, obviously it's not the Warriors' fault. The Jimmy Butler injury has wasted these two guys. These are the kind of dudes who are superb role players on championship level teams and on championship winning teams, right? These are the kind of guys, like, your front office makes these kinds of moves and you look back at it and say, that helped us win a championship. Those two guys are making, like, $8 million combined this season and are just so good. So good. And to get that kind of value, that's the kind of value championship winning teams find. You go and get a 5th and 6th guy like that is just truly incredible. It really is. It's truly incredible. And right now, they're like, you'd argue like they're Golden State's 2 best players almost, or like, top 4 at least. They are that good. But it's just a shame that the Butler injury means the Warriors aren't going to quite have enough top-end star power to be a like genuine contender this season. Because if you did have Butler and you get Steph back, obviously, and if you get something from Porzingis, and we'll get into that in a second, if you can have, again, Horford and Melton as like your 5th, 6th guys, whatever, or even 4th and 5th, like it's just incredible value. And those guys are playing so well at the moment. Horford, 22 points, season high, 7 assists, 6 of 7 from 3-point range. Melton, 20 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, and 4 steals. And I just genuinely feel so disappointed that the Butler injury has just like wasted these two guys. Like, we're not going to see these two, because like they're not only are they putting up great numbers and stuff like that, they're just guys that you feel like as a fan watching, you just like feel comfortable with the ball in there. Now Horford had a couple of horror turnovers in the third quarter where the Warriors gave the ball up like 3 straight possessions. It's quite disgusting. But aside from that, like I'm getting to a point like I feel comfortable with the ball in Horford's hands. Like he's going to make the right play. He's going to feed cutters off the post and stuff like that. Feel fair, like after the start of the season where he couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat, suddenly like he's 3-point. Now I know he was cold going into this game, but I feel pretty comfortable and confident when he puts his 3 ball up right now, against 6 of 7 in this game. So those guys are not only putting up great numbers, but you just feel comfortable with them, and like they've got enough experience where they're going to be comfortable in a playoff setting. And they're going to be high-level contributors to you in a playoff setting. And it's just a real shame and disappointing that we're probably, like, in all likelihood, we're not going to see them in like the second round of the playoffs or the conference finals or anything like that. It's just a real shame because these guys are so damn good and on such cheap contracts. Now, they both have player options for next season. I think Horford's probably more likely to pick up his if he continues. Like, this dude, like, surely you just keep playing. Like, he's that good. Like, surely you just keep playing if you're him. Again, slow starts this season. We're like, oh, is this guy finally washed? No, he's not. He's still our Horford. He still can knock down threes from anywhere. He can still pass. He can still defend at a higher level and be a rim protector. Again, Jokic had a great game. No one's guarding Jokic, but like a couple of help side blocks from Horford in this game. Guy's still incredibly good. So hopefully, fingers crossed, he picks up his player option for next season and returns to the Warriors for a second year. Maybe the Butler injury kind of helps that to some degree because Horford sees it as like unfinished business. We didn't get a clear run at it this season because of the Jimmy injury. And then Melton may be a similar thing, but you'd find it difficult to believe that he'll pick up his, $2.6 million player option or whatever it is for next around $3 million, whatever it is. You'd find it difficult for him to obviously return. Maybe the Warriors have enough financial flexibility where they can obviously, pay Melton more to bring him back, because obviously he's going to be huge. But at the same time, you're also like, I find it difficult not to look at guys within the sphere of like what their contract says, because that to me brings a level of expectation, right? If you look at Kristaps Porzingis, I don't really have an issue with him missing this game if the dude was on $12 to $15 million a year, which hopefully is what he's on with the Warriors next season. I don't really have an issue with it. But if you're making over $30 million, well, then I need some level of like consistent availability, and you're just obviously not getting that with Kristaps Porzingis. Draymond Green, like, has been, and again, I'll get into him in a second as like my third major takeaway. I'm okay with Draymond if he's on like $10 million or something. On $27.7 million, like, well, that's a massive, massive overpay. Melton, next, if Melton's on like $15 million next season, then I'm kind of expecting games like this, as opposed to him on a minimum contract right now. Well, you're getting so much value out of him because, again, he's like a legitimate fourth, fifth rotation piece for you, and he's literally getting paid like a 13th, 14th guy on the roster. So, again, it's a shame that the Warriors are getting this level of value and performance out of our Horford and De'Anthony Melton. And unfortunately, it's going to go to waste in terms of being an actual contender because of the Jimmy Butler injury. It's a real shame. Because, again, this team, if Jimmy was available, if Steph is available when he comes back, if you got something from Porzingis, Horford, Melton, something from Draymond, whatever, Moses, BP, again, it's like why Pods is still good value to me because while he's still in his rookie contract, like I think he's a fine rotation player to have. If he ends up asking for like $18 to $20 million a year, that's when it's like, oh, hang on a second, do I really want to be paying him that? So the Warriors could have really had something in it, if not for the Jimmy injury. And this game again shows that. And it's just disappointing that the Jimmy injury happened. I don't want to harp on about that because I want to try and be positive and optimistic after one of the best wins of the season, no doubt about it. But it also in the back of your head, it's like, wow, we just produced that performance. This is what could have been if not for Jimmy, kind of thing. So anyway, is what it is. The last one, which I think might be the biggest discussion point, I think, moving forward here is once again, and I don't want to sound like a broken record here, but the Warriors have a problem when it comes to Draymond. And David Adelman, of all people, the Denver Nuggets coach, has blatantly pointed it out. He was asked in his post-match press conference, like, were you, did you have an issue with the late out of Draymond, who was named in the starting lineup, Draymond was, and then was a late out like 2 minutes before the game. Al Horford had to come in, step in at center. And Adelman was asked, did that leave you, did that present some issues to you in terms of like game planning and stuff like that? And Adelman basically confirmed, he's like, yeah, we were a bit confused because obviously Horford being able to stretch the floor and having like a 5 out, being able to play 5 out is a lot different to having Draymond Green, who if he's just sitting on the perimeter, you're just leaving him wide open. Al Horford ends up going 6 of 7 from deep in this game. And so Adelman has essentially just pointed to the issue that the Warriors have with Draymond Green, which is they're playing one down on offense with him on the floor, particularly without Steph. Because at least with Steph, you can say, oh, well, they can get into like their 2-man actions and you can set screens and, dribble handoffs and stuff for Steph, and you can take advantage of Steph's gravity and you might get like a naked handoff layup / dunk at the rim on one occasion, or he might just get like a pick and roll layup or dunk at the rim on another occasion. Like at least it'll take some gravity, take advantage of some of Steph's gravity. Without Steph, that's just not happening. And so legitimately, when you take Steph out, Draymond becomes a legitimate negative on the team. Now, a lot of fans would argue that if you look at the plus minus numbers and, over a long period of time, they don't really tend to lie. A lot of people would argue, and I might be in that basket, that the Warriors just are a worse team even with Steph. Sorry, the Warriors, even with Steph, are a worse team when Draymond's alongside of him and Draymond's playing. Again, the plus minus numbers suggest that. So I don't know what this is, because I think when we get the news earlier of Kristaps Porzingis being out, waking up ill and missing what would have been his second game with the Warriors, I think there was a big level of deflation. And it was like, oh, goodness me, like this is really disappointing. There was some optimism. He looked actually pretty good in his first game against the Celtics, albeit in a loss. We want to see more KPs. Obviously, the latest big trade acquisition for Golden State. Hopefully he can build something, build a level of chemistry, and re-sign in the offseason and be back with the Warriors, kind of thing. And then it's like the disappointment of, oh, well, this is just Kristaps Porzingis. Like this is what happens with him. He played 17 games this season with Atlanta before the trade, dealing with the Potts syndrome, and so we shouldn't really be surprised about this. All this stuff. And then with Draymond at the moment, it's like if we got an update like in the next 2 hours about Draymond, and they said Draymond Green will be reevaluated in 2 weeks with his back injury, how many of you, in all seriousness, would be devastated and really disappointed? I don't think it's many. Like, I actually think some fans would be celebrating if Draymond Green was out for a couple of weeks, which is really unfortunate for a franchise legend. It's just almost like the painful reality we're at, where the Warriors, particularly when Steph's out, and I was watching that game against the Celtics on Thursday night, I was like, if Draymond's going to play like that, just sit him. Just sit his backside for the entire game. Play Quentin Post if you have to. Play, obviously, Porzingis and Horford. We don't need Draymond out on the floor, okay, because he's a net negative. And again, in this game, Draymond's laid out, and the Warriors, despite no Steph, Jimmy, or Porzingis, they're three presumably leading scorers if they're all healthy. Without those three guys, the Warriors put up 128 points, make 21 threes, put up 76, a season best 76 points in the first half against one of the best teams in the league. And so for them to be able to do that, do they do it without with Draymond there? They just don't. Unfortunately, it's sad to say they don't put up that kind of offensive display if Draymond Green's available. And as a result, they probably don't win the game. Now, maybe defensively they're a little bit better. Maybe Draymond does a bit of a better job stopping Jokic. I'm not sure he would have necessarily, obviously given size differential. I don't know. It's just, I don't know what you do with Draymond, because he has to, like, he can't just suddenly start getting DNP'd, right? Like, he's got to play some. But I don't know how you can continue with him in the starting lineup if Steph's not there. I wrote an article about it yesterday when there was the update that Porzingis' minutes were going to get bumped up a little bit. And I was like, well, once Porzingis is available and ready to play in the starting lineup, like, he's just got to start over Draymond. And Draymond's probably got to come off the bench and play like 15 to 18 minutes off the bench. And now, obviously, the Porzingis illness that's come up here, it's like, well, that puts a spanner in that. But if Draymond's ready to go right on Tuesday against the New Orleans Pelicans, do you really say that? Like, do you really go to everyone in the locker room and say, yeah, we know Al Horford had a season high 22 points and had 7 assists and looked fantastic. It was a huge piece of our victory. Hit 6 of 7 threes on Sunday in one of our best wins of the season over Denver. Do you really go and say all that and then say, oh, yeah, but he's coming off the bench now and we're going small again with Draymond at center? Like, I don't know how you can tell. I don't know how you can tell Al Horford that, and I don't know how you can tell his teammates that. Because, like, you just, like, if I was like Guy Santos or Moses Moody or like someone else, Melton, someone else in the starting, I'd be like, hey, what? Like, we just had one of our best wins of the season. We exploded offensively in the first half with Al just drilling threes from everywhere. He had, like, 3 threes, 11 points in the first quarter or something like that, Al Horford. Like, how are you going to go back to Draymond after that? I'm not sure you can. And so, to me, the best possible outcome here is that Draymond's actually out for a few games and they feel like they have to manage his back injury on the way back, and therefore they're like, all right, we're going to bring him off. It's almost like they can use the injury, or let's hope they use the injury as an excuse to bring him off the bench, because I'm not sure they're going to otherwise. But maybe if it's like, all right, we need to manage this back injury, he can only play 18 to 20 minutes, therefore, to manage him, we're going to bring him off the bench. Oh, look, we've stumbled into a better starting lineup without Draymond. Maybe Draymond's actually effective in a bench role while his back's being managed. He's playing 18 to 20 minutes. That's kind of the outcome that I would like to see. But then, like, what happens in the offseason with a $27.7 million player option? I said it on last episode. I said, look, if he picks that one up, I'd be telling him, you go ahead, pick it up, take the money, you deserve it, whatever. We're going to trade you. We're going to attach picks and we're going to trade you for a more valuable player if you pick up that player option. If you want to opt out, cool. Then we can have a discussion and we can try and work out a mutually beneficial deal for both franchise and player that is reflective of a guy who from here on out is probably going to be a bench player and therefore should only be getting paid 10 to 12, maybe max $15 million a year, but even $15 million might be on the top end. So again, it's just how Like, how does your contract align to what your value and your output is? And unfortunately, Draymond just, doesn't produce it at a rate and at a consistent level that you'd expect out of a $27.7 million player. I don't think he's overly important for the Warriors in the regular season. I did an episode earlier in the week about last week, my time now, it's Monday here in Australia, but I did an episode about like the 3 Warriors who need to step up after the All-Star break, and I put Draymond as one of them. Now, I don't think he's overly important for the regular season. I still think Draymond Green can have moments in the playoffs where he's a really important player to the Warriors and makes big plays, particularly defensively. I think he could still be really important for the playoffs. But sometimes in the regular season, it's more so about offense and defense, and just like being able to spread the floor and shoot a bunch of threes. We saw Boston again. Like Boston the other night on Thursday, just spread the floor, made a bunch of threes, killed the Warriors because they were able to have like shooting at all 5 positions at the second best offense in the league this season, simply because of that almost. Like, you're telling me Boston without Jason Tatum have enough talent to be the second best offense in the league? Like, no, they shouldn't. But because they've got shooting from all 5 positions during the regular season, that's just kind of what it's about. And again, Adelman, the Nuggets being confused because Draymond wasn't out there. It's like their game planning. It's like, oh, well, we can just leave him open and we can just verse 4 guys on offense, essentially. And it's like, oh, crap, Draymond's out. Al Horford, we've left him open in the corner again. Oh, on the wing again. He's finished 6 of 7 from threes, and we've somehow lost to a team without Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, Kristaps Porzingis, and Draymond Green. So, I know I want to give the Warriors a lot of credit, though, for winning this game. Obviously, the Nuggets, third game in 4 nights, they probably potentially a little bit tired down the stretch, but take nothing away from Golden State, who were incredibly short-handed. And for Brandin Podziemski to do what he did, and Moses and Gay, and obviously the veterans in Melton and Horford, and even GP2, who's been playing reasonable of late. Big win for the Warriors. Entertaining to watch, fun to watch, and so full credit to the team, full credit to the guys. I'm going to finish it up there, guys. Let me know what you make of anything I discussed, the Pod's performance, the Draymond problem that the Warriors still have, Horford and Melton, whether the Warriors can still have them on the roster next season, the Porzingis illness, stuff like that. The other thing I do want to mention just before I go here, it feels like to me, like Porzingis is such an uncertainty. This Draymond injury is obviously less than ideal, takes another player out for you. The Steph injury, the Seth Curry is like a 0 at this point. Jimmy's obviously out for the year. It still feels to me like the Warriors should be using their 15th roster spot. Like, you're incredibly short-handed for a game like this. 9 guys. Obviously, it worked in the end. Like, you won the game. But, like, even, Gee got into foul trouble and stuff like that. It would have been nice if you just had an extra guy available to play. Okay. So, should the Warriors be using that 15th roster spot? I would say yes. Because you can say, oh, we've got 14 guys on the roster. No, you don't. You have 12. Because Jimmy's out for the year and Seth Curry is like a complete 0 right now. And then Porzingis is like, I don't know, a quarter of a player. Maybe you could say we've got 11 and a quarter players. Plus, you've got Al Horford to manage on a minutes restriction. Plus, you've got De'Anthony Melton on a minutes restriction to manage. Now, Draymond's got a back injury. Like, come on. Like, use that 15th roster spot, please. Like, I want to see it. All right, guys, I'm going to finish up there. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel already, that'd be greatly appreciated. You can follow me at POC252. That's POK252 on X/Twitter. Golden State with Mates on Patreon, on the Patreon, Instagram, and TikTok as well. You can follow us on those. Thanks again, guys. Hopefully the Warriors can continue the momentum from this game. A couple of back-to-back coming up here on the road against the Pelicans and the Grizzlies. So a couple of semi-tanking teams. Hopefully the Warriors can potentially get on a 3-game winning streak, even without Steph and obviously without Jimmy. And we'll see what happens with KP and Draymond over this upcoming back-to-back. Thanks again, guys.